If George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were alive today, they'd be raided by the DEA. They'd be doing 10 to 12 years in a federal penitentiary as major drug dealers.
Welcome to Weed News at 420. I'm Lance Storm. In this episode, we're going to cover Jessy Ventura talks about Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, and his new book, Marijuana Manifesto.
I'm the only veteran. I have an honorable discharge. None of these candidates do.
Well, you've always been.
I want you to mind yourself.
He's got us
here.
laughing
I
already.
always mind myself.
Okay. All right. I don't really want you to mind. Just 25 days to go before Election Day, and Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are going after each other with vicious new ads.
The Clintons. From dead broke to worth hundreds of millions. So how did Hillary end up filthy rich? Pay-to-play politics.
I have never been so ashamed of this country.
Donald Trump appears to be in total meltdown. The Clinton campaign released this video mocking and accusing Trump of being in the middle of a meltdown, and Trump hit back, taking aim at Clinton. The ad portrays her as corrupt. Both campaigns have been ruthless, an ugly battle between a career politician and a brash outsider.
Jessy Ventura knows the territory well, the former wrestler, Minnesota governor. He has written a new book called Jessy Ventura, Marijuana Manifesto. He's here to talk about all of this. My man, how are you?
I'm doing good.
See you.
I'm doing good.
You're
Working
in one piece.
out.
You're in one piece. You're good.
Well, I'm down to the weight I actually was the day I got out of the Navy. And I got out of the Navy in 1973.
Show me your shirt. Now, what is that?
Well, that's just the underwater demolition, original Frogman.
Yeah, and that's what you were.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You were a SEAL.
Yeah,
What do you think about all the movies that have coming out?
I
about the
despise
SEALs?
them
You do? How come?
because in our day, we were the quiet professionals. We lived by a rule that Las Vegas, what happens on deployment stays on deployment. And that's why you don't read any big stories about the older day UDT SEAL community as much, because I see what's happening to the SEALs today the same way the Green Berets were exploited during the Vietnam era. And once you've been exploited to the public at that level, you no longer have your mystique anymore.
Well, fame and money, right? That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you. From time to time, people talk to you about running for the presidency.
Yeah.
Do you wish you were running now?
No, because I didn't want the job, or I would be running. I had the opportunity. The Libertarians called me twice to come to their convention, but I couldn't go all in. And then you're cheating yourself, and you're cheating the people that would vote for you, because if you're going to do that job, you have to be 100% committed to doing it. I couldn't reach that level. I look at it, what's happening today, though, and I'm angered because the media plays a role in this too. My most important issue is the wars. I want them ended, meaning the wars on drugs and the wars in the Middle East. I want our kids home. It's 15 years, we've accomplished nothing. It's worse today than it was. Let's get out of there and come home. Only Gary Johnson says he'll do that. He has my vote, because I want to talk about real things, not if somebody got groped 35 years ago.
Does it bother you that your guy, Gary Johnson, doesn't know about Aleppo and things like that?
If you're pulling out, why do you need to know about it? If you're going to get us out of there, what do we need to? Half of America didn't know that when they took a poll.
Did we make a
The
big...
point is, when you're campaigning like that 24/7, you're going to make mistakes, and the media just waits to jump on
Yes,
that mistake.
absolutely, absolutely.
You have to admit there's been a bit of a
it is
pattern.
rigged. It is rigged. Our elections are rigged. They're rigged against any third entity being allowed. Why aren't we hearing from Dr. Stein and Gary Johnson these debates? I proved it. I was polling 9% at Labor Day in Minnesota. I was allowed in the debates. 60 days later, I'm the governor. That could have been done here too. I could have got in, because I would have shamed them. I'm the only veteran. I have an honorable discharge. None of these candidates do.
Well, you've always been an advocate for third-party candidates.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's particularly important in this election. How do you think that the third-party candidates could actually affect the outcome?
Nothing, because they weren't allowed in the debates.
But
If they were
look
allowed
at
in the
Ralph
debates,
Nader
it
in
would be fair.
2008.
It would be fair.
500 some odd
And that's
votes
an
affected the
excuse that's
election.
used. Whenever someone loses of the two parties, their easy way out is to blame the third party for their loss instead of accepting it. How arrogant to think that, well, these people all would have voted for me. Well, that's arrogance. We vote
Jesse,
for the people we want to be president. Let's get to the book, though.
No.
I don't
Before
want
I
to
get to the book,
talk
I
about
wish we
this
had the
stuff.
time because I disagree with you. But next time you come, we'll talk about
All right.
that. All right. Okay. So,
Let's talk about the
yeah,
book.
you're an advocate for the legalization of marijuana.
Absolutely.
You think the policy we've had in the history is crazy, and that's the result of
Well,
that?
we've been lied to again in history. I'll give you the quick example. If George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were alive today, they'd be raided by the DEA. They'd be doing 10 to 12 years in a federal penitentiary as major drug dealers because they raised and sold marijuana in mass quantities. People don't realize it was the economic backbone of our country for 160 years. I learned this doing the research of this book. You could actually trade marijuana for money with the British. It was the only reason it fell was the invention of the cotton gin. When they invented the cotton gin, they could then produce cotton easier than they could marijuana for clothing, biodiesel fuel, and here's the personal reason in my life. Marijuana has given me my quality of life back. Because someone close to me developed a seizure disorder, was seizing 3 to 4 times a week, then I was dealing with this. My life was gone too, if you've ever dealt with seizures. And 4 different pharmaceuticals, none of them worked, took the person to Colorado, medical, 3 drops under the tongue 3 times a day. 2.5 years ago, this person has not had a seizure now, is completely weaned off the pharmaceuticals. So marijuana cured this person and gave me my life back. There's more people out there that need that benefit. California, you got the chance, vote and pass it, make it legal, treat it the same as alcohol and tobacco.
How do you stand on that issue, Jesse?
I'm going to get the most of my time here.
No, I do want to ask you this. If you go back in history, you could reverse things. Alcohol could be what marijuana is. Cigarette smoking could be illegal, like marijuana is. It's more a cultural judgment than anything else, isn't it?
Well, it's also when you've been lied to. Marijuana it was legal for 160 years. Then William Randolph Hearst came along. He owned thousands of acres of timberland. In the good capitalistic way, he bought off the politicians, got marijuana made illegal. We had to cut his trees down to use for paper. Here's an argument. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and Betsy Ross's original flag are all made out of marijuana. Doesn't that make them all American?
You're saying they're all a bunch of potheads?
Back then they were.
Uh-huh.
They'd all be in jail today.
Okay. Is there any downside?
The downside, not really.
No downside.
Well, there's downside to any drug.
Anything that changes your consciousness on any level.
Any drug has a downside.
Right.
But the thing is, marijuana can't kill you. If you binge drink, you can die. How many students do we see? In Minnesota, we just lost our prince. Had he been doing pot, he'd be alive. He was doing opiates, medical, pharmaceutical opiates, kills 25,000 or more people a year right now. And they found this out. Every state that's legalized pot completely has seen a drop in heroin use. A drop. The exact opposite of what we've been told.
With all the evidence supporting some of these incredible medical discoveries about marijuana, why so much resistance still from the political
government?
community?
Because you could grow it and get it free. Always follow the money. You could grow, my mother used to grow tomatoes in the backyard of our inner city home in Minneapolis. You could grow it, poor people could get it free. Look what they just did with those shots for the bee stings. $20 a shot, and then farmer at $400 now for people to save their lives on the bee sting shots.
Jesse, isn't it naive for you to say that if we legalize marijuana, it'll be low cost, big pharma won't come in, big companies won't come in?
They may come in, but you won't have to deal with them if you don't wanna. Sure, for convenience, you buy a Budweiser from the Anheuser-Busch company, but you could grow your own. Poor people wouldn't have to, would they? Now, most of us wouldn't choose to do that. Most of us would choose the lazy way. If it's at the liquor store or whatever, you go buy it. But it would have the ability to where you could grow it, because remember this, government, they would tax you for the air you breathe if they could.
You know, it's a good note to end it on.
You sound like you're
right.
ready to run again, Jesse. I don't know.
I live too
I think
good of a
we-
life. That's why I wouldn't do it.
I'm very happy to see that you have not changed.
I'll never change.
Okay.
If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and share with your friends. As always, if you got something to say, let us know in the comment section below. Have a beautiful day, people.